So cute. Thank you. So, hey, you guys, good morning. This is Susan Lenart. I've been a silversmith for 35 years. I'm putting together a number of different films. One of them, this actually, I just want to kind of show the real life in the studio, of a silversmith, of an artist, like the process of how you think. I also have some lives that I talk about business and, for putting together your business, your products, just other ideas that I can talk about. So I show up live on there too. So I hope you guys get a chance to get around and see the big picture of things. So I'm here. I actually have done so much teaching in my life that I decided, just to share some of my ideas, like reality in the studio. I taught a big course called Intentional Metalsmithing that I have online now. So actually, if you guys love these little pieces and parts, my suggestions that I would say to you is to either to start with a program that I have called Unfolding, that actually, if you like a lot of my lives, it's a program called Unfolding. It's my membership, super cheap. It's an artistic, creative membership for people who really are looking to expand their creativity. And you also get some silversmithing tips there too. So the other thing I would say is I have an Intentional Metalsmithing, a 6-part course that walks you through step by step all of these techniques using medium size. So these actually, what I show here are just kind of like a bump onto that. So if you guys really do want to start with, a foundational, people who took my course, the 6-piece course, have really sprung into amazing, powerful designers. My book, Intentional Metalsmithing, springs from that, and I'll show you guys the book in a minute. But that's what I want to kind of say. Oh, here, I'll go grab my book right now since I'm up walking around. Have to get through all my plants. Yeah, if you guys do not have this book, this is my Intentional Metalsmithing book, and it actually just talks about the nomadic toolkit, what I'm doing. Go through all these plants again here. See, I love having my plants around. If you actually see a live, you'll see why I have my plants. I'm manifesting some of my dreams and reality that I'm looking forward to. Those are on my live. So here, I want to talk about just doing jewelry and building and being an artist in the studio. So I'm going to flip this around and show you guys. And I want to show you guys, I know I spent so much time telling you guys I cleaned up and organized. It's still pretty organized for me. But, it's like, as we know, things get a little messy when you get going. These right here on my board, I've got my easy solder in this corner. I've got hard solder over here. I've got medium over here. And I still can spin my board because I've got it written right on the side. Easy. That's an E for easy. So I know exactly where all my solder is. So when I'm in here working on my pieces, I can just get in, and grab a piece here and there. Here's my little important pieces here. One of them, my torch, but these are my important pieces here. This is my soldering pick, my tweezers, my locking pliers. This is what always stays by my side. Absolutely have to have a paintbrush. I mean, just a few things, right? And then I have doubles of things. And then I need my beautiful long big pliers. This helps me with so much. But that's really all I need here. Look, it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, to tell you the truth. It's these 4 pieces on my right-hand side. 2 of them are tweezers. 1 of them is a soldering pick and 1's a paintbrush. That's what I use by my side. I like to keep things as simple as possible, because when you keep things simple, all your creativity can come into the picture. Now on the side, when I'm doing bezels, I have a medium solder cut in here, easy solder cut here. I've got some hard solder over here. And this, my friends, is my flux. And because it's out in the sun and the light, you know, I try not to put too much more of that. I like a big sturdy dish, because how many times have I spilled my flux on my table? That's all I need on my left side. All the rest of it is fluff. You know, I've got some of my other pieces and parts. I love using these T-pins a lot in my work. I have my pliers up in here that help me out so much. Here's my beautiful windows, as I always talk about. But you know what, you guys, I'm getting a brand new space, which I'll show you guys soon. Here's some extra gems that I have. Oh my gosh, always go by what gems you pick. This is a spritzer of my flux. You know, love having a spritzer. And some of the other things here, these are actually what I'm making my hollow forms out of. These type of forms right here. I'm making my hollow forms. I think in unfolding too, I have some really, you know, in my intentional metalsmithing course, I've got all of this information. I'm just showing you guys now how to expand all of this. Kind of excited about some of these pieces here. My drills, my anvil. But that's it. You know, I guess an area can't stay perfect. I try, but I'm so excited about working today. Here's my tanks right next to me. And I do use that little MAP gas tank just to anneal, or if I want to do something real quick and I don't want to, you know, strike it and use my acetylene. And then here is my holders. And here's my torch once again. So this is actually on my right-hand side too. So that's it, you guys. This is like, I'm gonna be right here working today, but I just wanted to show you guys a little bit more. Oh, I know what you're asking. Where is my jeweler saw? Where is my, okay, I'm gonna turn and show you guys this little area here. There's just some extra tanks down there, but here's where I've been lately using these disc cutters a lot, getting a lot of disc, getting a lot of scrap. Anvils are here. Here's where I do my jeweler saw, right at this tip, just because I like moving a little bit back and forth. And there's my drinking water, my rolling mill, a couple other things. But over here, oh my God, everyone, I remember every time I bring that box out, everyone wants to buy that box. But I love it. I'll show you guys a close-up at some point. There is my pickle pot, and here is my liver sulfur pot. Mostly I like to really bring all of my silver to a bright color right now, but here's my polishing wheels, a little dirty here. See, I have to get in there and clean. This area here that looks really yucky, I get in and clean that up. When I use muslin wheels, you get a lot more yuckiness, almost like a dryer lint in there, but it's dirtier. So this area I try to keep clean, but I just get dirty, that's all. My plants help give me oxygen to breathe. That's why I love them here so much. And so grateful for all of them. I just got a beautiful, beautiful aloe vera plant from a friend of mine. And I'm super excited because, you know, once in a while you burn yourself in our world, right? This one hardly needs any water. He loves this beautiful light behind him. All these plants love this bright light, so they're growing good. So this one is opening up and doing well. You guys will see me fuller and fuller when I do my presentations. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about talisman and why it's so important to like build pieces for yourself and how they affect you. You're gonna find in building your own shapes, your own colors, your own work, like what brings you your passion, you know, and then if you can start feeling that passion in your work, you're gonna be able to radiate that out, put it into your work, that feeling of passion and joy and love and really loving your work. You know, as artists, a lot of times, and me as a silversmith, I'll get in my studio and I will love my work through a period of time. And sometimes when you get burnt out, you just have to back away and relax and then, you know, find a way to recover your passion again. Or, you know, if you're kind of stuck with a creative block, hey, I talk a lot about how to remove these creative blocks when you guys get into my other lives. On my lives here on this channel, I'm Wednesday on live, and I always talk about how to remove these creative blocks. And in fact, you guys, if you guys are looking for a next step to join a community, please think about joining my $25 a month subscription, or $25 a month, it's a membership. And in there, I show all different kinds of ways on how to get into your real self, how to find your real work. It's a second step after this. So this actually is my book, and in here, I started with my first group of people, and I started incorporating energies along with our work, because really, if you think about it, we're artists. When we're sitting in our studio and working on our work, we're putting energy into our work. You know, it's like we're powerful as artists and creators. We're the people who can download, we can imagine, we can build in our heads. You know, this is all what we're about, is coming up with new ideas. And when your ideas stem from yourself, that's when your work is going to be so relevant, it's not even funny. So what I want to say is some of the work that I'm doing right now. See this piece right here? I'm going to show it real close up. This piece is a lemon quartz and a wrist and an armband. Oh, can I tell you the power that I feel wearing this piece? This piece gives me power. Like when I'm here in my studio or walking around the world, I can feel it there. And it's a reminder to me, it goes right up to my head and feels like power to me, and passion. Why do I want power? Because I want passion for my work. I know a lot of my work when I show behind the scenes in the studio that I'm talking about, you know, really redirecting, getting your way into your passion again, you know, in your studio, in your work. So why did I pick lemon quartz? Lemon quartz is this power center right here. And this one really is my personal piece that is getting me back to my passion, to my shapes. It gives you clarity. So the lemon quartz, you know, it's important, these different stones that you use in your work. Lemon quartz is so beautiful to give you clarity and strength and power and passion, direction. You know, when you're looking for direction and like, where do you start? How do you get into all of this? You know, how do you get at your real work? Well, this is what I'm doing, is wearing this lemon quartz. And I want to say again, if you really are at this place, you know, I hope you guys enjoy watching this. And of course, this is always here. And I just love making these films, but show up for my lives. And once you guys, if you guys really want to get onto a pathway, you can come into my very inexpensive membership group that you'll see on there. So these are my shapes that I'm doing now that I am in love with. I think for me, it's probably more, I was using a lot of triangles for a while, and I was using a lot of triangles and those power signs. That is the plus sign to me. But to me, it's like, it feels so good to use these teeny tiny, and I've used a lot of circles for a while too. But these to me are teeny tiny, and they're gonna look beautiful when they're cleaned up. I can't wait to get these pieces. These are gonna be earrings that I'm gonna wear. And you know, they're complex, so as I design them, as I'm wearing more ear cuffs and pieces like that, it's like, you know, really building. When I first started building this string in my work, I remember years ago, actually, I'll tell you a little story. I started putting these wraps back when I was in my 20s, and I was working with all these really big companies, and Nordstrom was one of my companies that I would work with. They would fax me out, like, an idea, a style they want to see me build, and they would need me to send it to them by like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was in Chicago at the time, so we would just use runners back and forth. Actually, luckily for me, I was a small artist, so they would send a runner on the bikes. I think this is done like in Chicago, San Francisco. I'm in Cleveland. We don't have runners here, but they would send a runner, and well, now we can just overnight things. So before all of this, when there wasn't a UPS, they would send a runner on a bicycle or just a runner, and they'd pick up pieces of samples that I did and run it back to the company, and it would go back and forth like that. It was really interesting. I kind of like those old days and good memories from way back. So I would take these strings and I would just wrap them all around in knots and strings all over my silver work, and they would come in and they'd order, and they'd be like, okay, we want this, we want this, we want this, and this is how many we want. But what they'd also say was, but can you just leave the strings off? Like, can you tie your knots a little bit better? Which made me laugh so hard, because I'm like, oh my gosh, these knots are so intentional, and they actually are to seal up. So anytime you see strings in my work, as talisman, anytime you see strings like this, I am putting prayers into there. It's where I'm really rubbing manifestations, prayers. A lot of my focus right now of where I'm at with what type of words, what I'm embedding into my work as talisman, I'm doing the word freedom. I find over and over again, and that's what I'm going to embed into these too. So I'm going to show you guys that today on how I'm embedding just beautiful words. And I promise you guys that talisman are real. It's so crazy, because years and years ago, when I used to travel all over to different countries and cultures, I studied cultures, and I loved just all of this talisman work. I didn't even know I was going out to study talisman. But when I went out and started traveling to Thailand and down into South America and Guatemala and Mexico and Australia and all those areas there. And then I looked around at the United States too, and I saw it's the same thing. And my heritage in Croatia, we all have talisman. I'm going to be talking more and more about talisman too. And but the thing is that I'm realizing, so I used to talk about it like as an observer, and now I talk about talisman as real. If you're a painter, if you're a jeweler, if you're an artist, your work is talisman, especially when you get aligned. What a talisman is it is putting energy into the pieces that you're creating. So how your body is aligned. And so it's like the word for me is freedom. So when I come into my studio, I feel freedom. I feel this freedom when I look at my piece, and then I embed the word freedom into my pieces. So when you guys see the finished piece, you're going to be like, oh yes. You guys tell me if you see it. And then, I embed the word freedom, what other energies I want to put into there. But while I'm working, I'm in that word of freedom while I'm building. How do I get there? I play my music and hear freedom. I, will make sure I do my yoga or just a little breath work before I come in so I can get into this freedom. And I imagine, we're artists, we can imagine ourselves in there, you know what I mean? So it's like, we just use our imagination, and we're in that word. And when you stay there with your music that brings you there, you're in good shape. But then I also write the word inside of here. So by the time I'm finished with the pieces, I embed the word freedom in here. And what I have seen, I've been doing this for 35 years. Isn't that crazy? So I've seen results, you guys. At the end of it, what I found is back when I was in my 20s, now I only really do retail online or wholesale, but I did do retail and shows when I was in my 20s, and I would go out to these shows and I would see people who were so drawn to a particular piece, no other piece. They were so drawn to a piece. And for me, it is my belief in talisman that I know that this piece was really meant for freedom, and this woman is really looking for freedom, or this man or this person is looking to bring freedom in their life, so they're drawn into this piece. And I also do know that with the purchase of this piece, when they bring it back into their own space, into their own area, home, studio, wearing it on their body, embodying it, that this will help them bring freedom into their own lives because it has that energy. It's all about energies, guys. So that's what the talisman is. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys how I embed these, and then I'll show you how I seal them up. It'll be fun. Hey, so 2 ways that I get in my talisman space to begin with before I even start my prayer boxes and start my talisman, because I'm building talisman jewelry, is I actually bought, there's Nag Champa, there's all types of beautiful, beautiful incenses. But what I love is, some of these really beautiful, like this is from Nepal. You can find these online, like Nepalese, and they're so well priced. They're actually built by monks, and this is more of like a floral. I usually like more earthy, but I've been moving into these florals because I'm working with florals, So these actually are just pieces that I use 2 at a time. They're real florally, they're twisted. I'll show you what they actually look like. It's just a big twist, see? It's a big twist. And this can just be twisted easily back up again. But even if it doesn't twist, it doesn't matter. The incense is all in there, it's gonna catch. They're real smoky at first. I just come over, I light it with I just like these with my Big George. Why not? Why not? And then, this one's giving me a little bit of trouble. That one's giving me a little bit of trouble. Ooh, they smell so good, but I'll let it lay here. But the first thing that I do here, I'll show you, is I'm gonna take this around with me and I just clear this area out. I still have it turned down and this is where, you just breathe in, you do that breath work in, and I just really run freedom through my body, and that in turn will go into my workspace. So it's like the word freedom. And I also put the pieces over my work I'm doing. Here's a little hollow form right here. I can put it right over these that I did. Remember, I have the word freedom written inside all of these. So that's the first step, is writing it in there with a marker. The second step is getting you and yourself really clear. I'm getting myself to clear is where I can feel my energy and centeredness, and this helps me. My lemon quartz helps me. And then I'm bringing it over my whole studio space, over everything that I'm working with, so I can ensure, here's some of my other pieces here, all these pieces here. And this is what I do before any piece goes out the door in my studio. All these pieces have, a beautiful, beautiful blessing to them to really get the word freedom in there. Most of my work lately has been freedom. So anyway, now with the excess, I have just a place where I can rest it. Usually I'll go through my whole studio, but this really brings, for one, when I smell it, it reminds me of the freedom. For 2, it brings this florally, because this is more of a floral incense, brings this floral into my space where I'm building more feminine. 3, it helps really clear, and this is what you really want to get your work into, the smoke. Isn't that cool? So yeah, I do this with all my pieces. And this really is the way, people are always asking me, how do I make talisman? You're automatically making talisman, but now this is like just some of the steps that you can do to really do some amazing pieces. So I'll show you guys the collection at the end of this. Close up. These are my tools that are always on my right-hand side. That's it, to make it simple. My paintbrush, my long tweezers, my marker, whether it's a big fat marker or a marker like this. I've been using this is what I used a lot of times, just a marker and make marks, because it's nice and strong, you can rely on it. And this one actually is it's like a pen, it's like a little tiny one, and I need to get inside of here today, so I wanted to show this one. And then this is actually my soldering pick that I love. Love this soldering pick. It's a little bit more expensive. You can start with any one that you like though. And then these are my locking pliers that are useful. These are the only tools that are by my right hand side. Isn't that cool? And then the rest of them, it's like I always pull my files. Sometimes I end up with doubles though. So here's what I want to do. is I am going to show you guys, you know, say this one is teeny tiny, and I know to get inside of here, but say, I don't have to do it in any kind of an order, but this definitely will write in here. And as I'm writing the word freedom, there's the F to it so far. You know, it's like I can't exactly fit the whole word, but maybe I'll write the letters on top of each other. It's not like anyone is gonna see inside of here. So as I am putting words inside these prayer boxes, and this is how talisman were built through time. So I just take a deep breath in, and I feel freedom. I feel it all the way through my body. I feel this freedom. And now I'm gonna write the words free, F-R-E-E-D-O-M, freedom. Ooh, that's gonna be a powerful talisman. So normally I do all of these at one time, and I'll show you my setup. Let me get my silversmithing piece hammered out. I'm probably gonna use just a piece like this of silver. It's pretty lightweight. You don't have to do super heavy. I do have to make sure that I have a hole in my box. Isn't this crazy? I used to teach really tiny jewelry work, so I'm gonna have to bring you down. But I'll bring you down to see it. See, I used to teach teeny tiny work, and then it helped me out when my work got bigger when I was in my studio. Isn't that crazy? So you can see how it's written in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get everything lined up on this sheet of metal, and then I'll be back. So with all 5 of my pieces, what I'm gonna do, a little bit dirty. I don't always have to have the cleanest stuff here. But when you're working on a hollow form, I did it where I have the leaf pattern on the outside. So this will probably be the top. And I'm just really making sure. You want to make sure that all the lines are visible. You see a shiny white on your pieces. So it'll be nice and flush and flat. And the way you can tell is when you lay it down on your piece. Ooh, look how flush and flat that is. So I'm gonna line up all 5 of these now, get them all cleaned up and line up 5, and then I'll show you how I just get it soldered. I just do it all together. Okay, here's all 5 of my little petals, and you guys can see the way I put it together. Everybody has a little hole in it. Here's my flux I'm putting on. Everybody has, here, let me find it for sure. Where is the little hole? Oh my gosh, okay. When you work tiny, you just have to wear your, okay, let's see. Here's a hole. Okay, everybody has the tiniest little hole in there. See it? It's the tiniest. You have to have a hole. I mean, there are people who do their silversmithing and don't have a hole, but man, if you don't want to put a hole in your hollow form, because if you don't put a hole in your hollow form, it'll blow, it'll combust because of the pressure inside. But it really is about liquid being inside of your hollow form. So when you, when you actually put a hole in there, you don't really want to be able to see it, but what can you do? Sometimes you just don't have a choice because that'll let all of the dissipation out. So the people who, I have set many hollow forms, and then once this is heated up, I can put a little bit more flux on there. It'll hold better. See how it all went to one side? That's just a little bitty tip there. But I have set hollow forms when they, if I can get it this dry, I can get on there and set hollow forms. I have done it before, especially on the final, if I'm putting a flower on top or something on top. I'm usually in better shape. These I'm going to cut apart with snips, and then I'll get in there with my jeweler's saw. You don't want them too close together, but you don't want them too far apart either. There we go. The heat will glue it down. So luckily with the flux, it glues it down nice and beautifully. You can see how flush it is. I went over with sandpaper all of them, every single one of them. Now I'm just going to put on, it's hard for me to get around as I'm having you guys over my shoulder. Actually, I'm having you guys in front of my shoulder. I'm going to use medium. Oops, I've got to clean up my medium solder. My medium solder is dirty. So remember what I was telling you guys? I'm just gonna go over. It's really hard. I let it sit out. So I'm gonna actually put this in, put a little bit of pickle in here. It's all, see, it has too much flux in there. I'm gonna put a little bit of pickle in here. It'll clean it up. I'll pour it out, and I have to rinse it really good with water. And then I'm gonna come over and line the outside. So I will be back. Okay, it's good not to put too much solder on. You can see I have to get in here on both sides. Do it, oop. Maybe I'll spread this out. I put a lot down. What I'll just do is I'll go in and I'll drop some solder. Move these over a little bit. I'll drop solder. I don't need solder all the way around, and I don't need solder on the top. Drop solder a little bit on both sides. There we go. Get a little bit more. Medium. And now remember, this isn't the complete picture. If you guys want all the rules in the complete picture, that's intentional metalsmithing, to really get you into building your style, you know? Okay, now I'll drop down one more, and then I just have to arrange them better. This is a way, you know, like I said, everybody has her own way to do it. You know, millions of people are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. You can't do it that way. I mean, something about silversmithing there, you know, because some of us spend so much time, like I spent so much time in art school. So you want to, you know, do things the way you were taught in art school. I don't want any up on the side because it's easy. But you know what? It's like many of the best artists have come out, and, you know, to be a really, really powerful artist, you come out and you make your work your own. You know, you make your techniques your own, you make your work your own. It's taking me a little bit more time than normally it would. This piece, I have a lot here on the end, but that's okay. This will help me to get it around. Okay, if I have way too much, I just take it off, bring it to my table. Bring in some of this here. There we go. You can see I don't have to get it all the way around. It's gonna work so well for me when it starts flowing. This guy looks good. Bring in a little bit of this back. And listen, this is the low budget filming, just with my iPhone. I've got a beautiful, beautiful, you know, if you guys are like, hey, your table's wobbling, I can see it's wobbling. But I just wanted to just show a little bit of technique here. That's all. What I'm doing in my studio, there's way easier ways to do this without chip. You can just set it down. But when you do get your chip around, you can just hit your, there's a little too much here also. Let's get that off of here. You just need actually a little tiny bit. So we'll divide up these sides. And if we need more later, we just put a little bit more on there. Always easy to add. Just this area here, we need a little bit. And this will really help bring it and flow all the way around to all the sides. Okay. Let me take this off here. There's a little too much on this end. You really don't need much. Okay. Okay. I'm going to turn these lights off a little bit for you guys. How about that? Just right here. Much prettier. Okay. Let's do it. What I'm going to do is start with under. I always like the philosophy of annealing. That's my philosophy, annealing. And you know what? I actually keep, you know, this is always here. I keep my studies on their lifetime memberships when people get a silversmithing program, because, now I'm going to get up under here, because sometimes you just need a refresh later, you know, things happen in life and you're busy then you're like, okay, how did I do that? There we go. You can see it all starting to flow down here on the end. You can see it all filling in. There we go. Next one, I want to just make sure that my flow, though, is happening under the bezels. A little bit of solder went wayward. There we go. It's all... Make sure you stay under. These are all getting very, very beautiful, but when I'm done, I'll check it all. There we go. You don't want to over solder. You don't want to under solder. You want to just, oh, this one a little bit. You guys can't see it from there. I have to get this one a little bit warmed up and tap it over. See what I mean? Okay. So this one has to tap over a little bit because it is a little bit off center. So I'm going to hold this under here like this. And I'm going to try to get it nice and warmed up and tap it over. There we go. See how I tapped that over? Okay. Now it fits perfectly. Just have to do those type of adjustments sometimes. Ooh, you can see all this beautiful solder. You can see the beautiful solder on this end. Everybody is nice and secure. I'm waiting a couple seconds before I quench. Voila. Okay, so now I just want to make sure see, this edge here almost was too much over and I would have had a hole in there. So this is looking good. I'm going to snip these apart, cut them. Actually, I'm just going to go right in with my jeweler saw. Ooh, this one is a little bit over. So I'm going to have to go back in and move that one. It was this one and this one. So I'm going to have to spritz it again. When to do repairs, this has to be all spritzed again. I have to just get this one. Or maybe, you know what I think I'm going to do? Actually, it'd be easier if I just cut it apart with the jeweler saw and went back into this one independently, leaving some space around there. So this one, I'm gonna leave some space, go in on a small scale and push it back a little bit so I can have my hollow form. And that's how they're done, guys. Talking about objects, whoo, I love using objects in my work. I bought this gorgeous little collection of ancient, look at the patinas on here, of ancient, these were like arrowheads. And these, oh my gosh, I bought them probably 4 years ago. Look at how gorgeous these silhouettes are, all on their own, just carved and created and soldered and patinaed and used through time. So the thing I love, you know, when you're working with objects, you guys, and look at this beautiful piece, you find the simplest way to add this into your work so it doesn't ruin your object, it doesn't take away the power of your object. You know, for me, since these are made out of iron and they're a little heavier, I put this one on an ear cuff because this, I have to get the thread straight. This, you know, and then, so this one actually can sit up on your ear. I love wearing ear cuffs now. These can sit up on your ear and you don't have to worry about them being too heavy. Oh my gosh, I love it. So because, you guys, in working with balance in life, right? It's always nice to have a beautiful, bright, this is about love. So what I'm doing is about love, strength, power, and I put in some beautiful, this is the abundance symbol, and this is the beautiful artifact that I decided to use. I might be using this little collection. I love wearing objects that are powerful for me, especially because I'm working a lot with power and passion is my goals right now. Power and passion are my goals right now. So if they're yours, look around for some objects that make you feel powerful and they really make you feel strong. You know, I talked about this piece earlier, and the fact that it's an armband really gives me my power, you know. And now with the ear cuff, I can feel it here. It's not heavy and it makes me feel strong and different, and it makes me feel alive having this in my ear. Freedom, it gives me this freedom. I can wear heavier objects here, you know. So as I put my collection together, now you can see, because it's such a hard object, I decided to bring it a little bit more feminine. So it has flow to it and beauty, and it has gems and abundance and color and love added to it. So that's how I kind of like to diffuse different pieces, but the way that you can find energy in a piece, actually you just take one piece at a time and you close it. Here, we'll just take one piece at a time. You close it in your hand. You hold this hand just really up against here and you just do your breathing. I breathe all the way up into the top of my head and all the way down through my feet, just a couple breaths to clear out. I suspend it here, right up in here, and let it circulate, and then I do my breath work down. Bring it up again. I do this 3 times. This is so good for you and for as an artist to clear, and then bring it down again. And now breathe up again. I feel so clear. It always brings a smile to your face. And exhale that out. And now as you breathe in, breathe into your object. Breathe into your heart and breathe into this object. Just nice little breaths now that you're a little bit clear, and just feel this object in your hand. See if it has any type of a story to tell you. All objects and pieces have a story to tell you. And if it's not yours and you're attracted to it, there's a story and you could feel it. When I breathe into this piece here, this is what a talisman is about, the energy. So when I breathe into this piece here, I can feel the power and the strength. It doesn't hold destruction to it. So that makes me feel good. You know, you can tell a piece where it feels negative. This piece feels positive. So even though it is an arrow, maybe it feels like it was abundance and provided food for someone. You know, that's a whole different story. This is like abundance feeling. This object is, it feels like strength. It feels like you are holding, it feels like clarity, like you know where you're going, and it feels like success. So why wouldn't I want to wear a piece like this on my body that feels that way? You guys should go into your drawers. I'm going to suggest going into your drawers and picking out a couple pieces that you really are drawn to. There's a reason that you're drawn to them. For me, there's a reason that I'm picking these up right now and bringing them into my work. Because like I said, I am so wholeheartedly working on freedom, power, strength, and clarity, everything to do, and passion, really working with passion. So try that with your work. You really, if you don't know what trail you're off on with your objects, this will give you a good idea of what direction you're going, you know, what direction you need to go, what type of objects you need to go. So because like attracts like, I can also assume as I'm putting these on, you can see I put the abundance with it. That's what these pieces feel like to me. And so as I'm collecting and putting together my little collection of charms on here, like attracts like, so my people who need these will be able to come in and purchase these objects, you know, these pieces, and wear them with them. It's wearing your pieces with you that give you this, you know, what a talisman really is about is thinking of it over and over again. And even though I can't see this on my ear, I will be able to feel it and know that that's the abundance right there that I'm really loving wearing in my work. And that's what the talisman is about. It's the repetition of over and over feeling the energy of these pieces. Now, when I held this in my arm and held it close to me, not only did I feel the work, the vibration that was done in the past, but I brought in my own vibrations of power and strength and love. And this is really what it's all about, you guys. And when you're working with objects or designing objects, putting together, you know, I did a lot of shapes like this with filigree and floral, and I wear my tourmaline with me because I really want to keep my heart open so I can feel all these objects, you know, and feel all this. So interesting how everything is interrelated. And I just talk a little bit as I go, and I'll talk more about objects and talisman as we go. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and that was a good tip for you.